This is WBSM On Demand.
Good morning. Good morning. Beautiful morning out there. Beautiful morning. It's morning in America. Morning in America. We're now joined in studio by my friend and yours, former Sheriff of Bristol County, the chairman of the Trump campaign here in Massachusetts, the victorious Tom Hodgson. Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. Great to be here.
Beautiful day out there, right?
Oh, it's really amazing. This weather. We're almost at Thanksgiving, and we're going to be 60 tomorrow, I think, and the next day.
Great day to stop by Aldi's and drop off food for our food gathering for the United Way.
Yeah, it's a great cause.
Great cause,
good
right?
thing to do.
Tom, how are you feeling these days? The president was victorious again. Greatest political comeback in American history. Your thoughts, Sheriff?
I think it's so incredibly wonderful to be part of this time in history where, it really is a huge historic moment in time.
Yes,
and we'll be going forward as well. It's sort of the reinventing of America, bringing back the things that matter to the average person.
Right,
and that was something that government had gotten so far away from. So I'm excited.
So am I.
I mean, it was a great night. What a great victory!
Right,
it was unbelievable.
The Bristol County, great for Tom Hodgson and great for President Trump. Plymouth County, great for President Trump as well. How do people stay involved, Tom? What should people do today? They're decompressing after the victory. What should people be? What can they do to help the president make America great again?
Well, the first thing to do is to, I believe, get involved by continuing to participate in making sure that we have accountability in government. Mm-hmm. One of the most important things the president's going to be doing is getting the sort of underworld group in Washington out of the business of government and start giving it back to the people. And I think when those things are happening, I think all of us should stand up and celebrate and say, yeah, we didn't elect people to go and represent us and then turn the government into their own self-serving sort of entity, which is what's happened. And
right.
That's why they've been so threatened by President Trump.
Yes.
It's because he said, you know what? The days are over where the establishment in Washington is going to continue to do the kinds of things, the lawfare and all the other things that they've been doing against people by having this closed sort of circuit of people who are really benefiting themselves and now getting ready to be exposed. We don't want the American people to say, we shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. We need to do this.
Right.
And we need to get back to having a government that's buying for the people.
Tom, when you were the sheriff, you were involved with deportations. It was a bipartisan effort. Talk a little bit about deportations and why they shouldn't be scared and they should be relieved by them.
Chris, that is such an important point. You hear these people, these groups, and don't forget, a lot of these non-governmental organizations are making a lot of money.
Of course they are,
and that means the salaries for the people working there and all that. Not that we think non-government organizations aren't legitimate good things to have, but when it comes to encouraging people to come in here in violation of our laws,
yes,
we have to decide: are we a country of laws or are we not? This is not about. When you say that illegals are coming into this country and then calling them migrants instead of the legitimate word
criminals,
they've violated the law.
Right.
So it isn't that we're anti-immigrant. The problem is we can't, and I think the average person, all the listeners out there realize this. We talked about it, Chris. You go to the hospital now, and if you get admitted to be in the hospital, you're laying in the emergency room sometimes for 2 and 3 days because there aren't enough beds.
Right.
Our health system's overwhelmed. Our schools are overwhelmed. We're paying millions and millions of dollars to these people every day who just came here because they didn't want to be where they were.
Right.
You can come here, but you got to do it the right way. Go through the process.
So what's going to be the process, Tom, as do you think, to get these people out of here?
Well, the first thing that's going to happen is the administration's going to target all the criminal illegal aliens. They're going to also target people who are on the terrorist watch list. Mm-hmm. and they're going to get the people who are immediately creating a threat to the communities.
Right.
And then by process, I think people are probably a number of them are probably going to go back on their own because they realize they need to do it the right way.
Right.
But keep in mind that what's happened with, the people that have come in and that have committed crimes, we can't have people in government saying, we're going to protect them. And I don't care what you think you're going to do, President Trump, to try to get them out of here.
Right.
We're going to continue to keep these sanctuaries and make sure that these people have a right to stay here when they don't.
Right.
Okay. And it's being said by people like Maura Healey.
Well, I'm going to play this clip, Tom. It's good setup. Good setup. Are you competing for my job? This is a good setup,
Not
Tom.
at all.
This is I
could never.
Please.
Never reach your level.
We have a clip here of our governor.
Yeah, Governor Healey, who frankly has taken an oath to uphold the laws of this Commonwealth and the Constitution, who's basically said, I don't really care about those things, and I don't care what it does to you people that elected me. I'm more interested in the people being able to come here in violation of the law, and it satisfies her personal agenda, which she's had for a long time. I remember when I was down at the border in McAllen, Texas, and you can see it on tape. It's online. She was on the other side of the border in Mexico. I was at the processing station in McAllen, Texas, with some other sheriffs, and she was saying that same day publicly on the media that it was wrong for the United States not to allow these people to come in violation of the law. They had a right to come in, and this is the problem with Maura Healey. She doesn't really, frankly, care what people think. She doesn't care to represent the people that put her in there because she's more interested. Her agenda is more important to her than making sure that the people of our communities are safe, which is the most fundamental responsibility of a governor and people, of course, in law enforcement.
This is our governor, Maura Healey, on MSNBC.
If the Trump administration requests it, would the Massachusetts State Police assist in mass deportations?
No, absolutely not. But, let me say this. I do think it's important that we all recognize that there's going to be a lot of pressure on states and state officials. And I can assure you, we're going to work really hard to deliver. Some realities also need to be, noted, and that is in 2016, we had a very different situation in the courts. And while I'm sure there may be litigation ahead, there's a lot of other ways that people are going to act and need to act for the sake of their states and their residents. There's regulatory authority and executive powers and the like. There's legislation also within our states. So I think that the key here is that every tool in the toolbox has got to be used to protect our citizens, to protect our residents, and protect our states, and certainly to hold the line on democracy and the rule of law as a basic principle, right?
So, Tom, what I heard her saying is she's going to call on the legislature to back her up on her personal opinion that illegals should stay here. So our listeners, people who were involved in helping to elect Trump, or quite frankly, who may not like Donald Trump but recognize this has to happen, it's a matter of national security. They need to reach out to the legislators and tell them, do not go along with the governor, right?
Absolutely. Everybody should demand of their legislators to do what they were also sworn to do, which is to enforce the rule of law and protect the citizens of our community. And for the governor to say, no, Massachusetts State Police can't work with ICE. The question people ought to be asking themselves is, well, then does that mean also now that they can't work with the FBI,
right,
DEA on their task forces, the district attorney's offices, and the local law enforcement that they've been working with on these task forces? Look, the reason that they do that and work with these agencies is because we are in the communities and we know who the players are. State police are involved with us, but
right.
they're not in the communities every day. They need that intelligence. And if we didn't learn anything else from 9/11, it was that we need to do a better job on collaboration with all our partners in law enforcement.
Isn't that what came out of the 9/11 task force, right? Collaboration.
Absolutely. And look, we have resources. The sheriffs have resources to be able to identify these people that get arrested when they come in through a 287G program, so they don't get released back out and kill somebody.
Talk about the 280G program.
The 287G program is a program we had in Bristol where a number of our officers were trained down in Georgia at the federal facility, and they were trained on the databases and things that involved ICE and detention. And they were able, when they came back, so that when somebody got arrested, say in Bristol, say for whatever.
Drugs. Let's just say drugs.
Whatever.
That's what it usually is.
Right. And then they're identified as being here illegally. Our 287G officer can then go into the database that others couldn't, access the information, and then contact our contact in Burlington at ICE and say, this guy came up as a hit. Do you want us to hold him? Okay. They say yes, hold him for us to pick him up. And that person, otherwise, without that program, they just get released. They can get a bail, just get released right back out in the community and go victimize you or victimize some innocent child, right, as we've seen time and time again. Why would any governor, why would any legislator want that to happen when you knew you had the other opportunity to maximize your ability to keep people safe? You
got these illegal aliens selling fentanyl-laced Fantasia stickers to children on playgrounds, and the governor wants to let them go about their business?
Well, and the thing that is, to me, is probably the biggest example of how outrageous this governor is. She kicked those children out of the community center in Roxbury.
Little black kids in Roxbury. Yeah. That's who they are.
Yeah, in the low-income area, where these parents were being very responsible to keep their kids off the street corners in healthy activities after school and on the weekend so they wouldn't get exposed to the fentanyl that's pouring in over the border. Right. With these illegals that she encourages to come here are bringing in. And it's basically said to mom and dad, hey, sorry, I know I represent you. I'm supposed to keep you and your family safe. Right. But you know what? You're going to have to roll the dice. I'm putting your kids out on the street corner to do what you didn't want to do. That's expose them to fentanyl, have them potentially get hooked on it and die.
Yes.
Right? And I need this for people who violated the law and came in here illegally. So I need a place for them to stay. And I'm sorry, your kids just have to get out of here and go stay on the street corner after school and on the weekends. That's what this governor did. How outrageous
is that? It's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah. And it's just it's another example of this total disregard for your oath, your obligation, the responsibilities you have to the people of Massachusetts. And that includes any legislator that supports this kind of thing. They all ought to be standing up and saying, no, Governor, this is outrageous and we're not going to do it.
508-996-00. You can get on the phone and speak with Tom Hodgson, the chairman of the Trump campaign, keeping us abreast to what is going on. And, of course, he's been involved in deportations going back. You actually ran a school. Didn't you help people before they were going to go back to the Azores and things like that?
Yeah, we helped them develop transition houses over there. We brought their social workers here to train with ours so that they would assimilate there, not put a burden on the Azorean government, but also not put an additional burden on us by coming back. Right. And costing us money through courts, crime, and all these other things. So, and
language skills, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, and all of that's still ongoing. They've got 3 transition houses in San Miguel. They've got 2 in Tercera, 1 in Fayette, and I don't know how many more they may have at this point.
So when someone comes into the Bristol County House, I don't know if it goes on like this anymore, House of Correction, and they're booked, they run through a computer?
Right. They run through, they run through NCIC, and we do a background on that. But we also.
Do we know if this guy's ended that?
Oh yeah, they took that away.
So that doesn't go anymore.
No, that's when Mara Healy was involved with Mayorkas, and they shut down our whole operation. That was they wiped out everything. 287G, the transportation we were doing regionally, and our detention center. Oh yeah,
so we're remarkably less safe than we are today.
Oh, incredibly.
Right,
incredibly less safe. Yeah, and for what?
I know. What? All for the good, all for her ego and her political agenda.
And her political agenda.
Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Yeah. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, I was just wondering. First of all, for Sheriff Hodgson, I believe we got a new president, and I always, no matter who it is, what side you're on, he's the president, so we got to respect the president.
Yes.
But I'm just curious on his picks and how you feel about it, especially like Kennedy, who's so against shots and everything else. He's not a doctor or anything. You think he was the best pick, or just a political pick, to be in charge of health. And then you got Gates the same way, with his problems supposedly with his 17-year-old girl and all this. Do you think he should be the Attorney General? I like your opinion on that.
Well, it'll remain to be seen with regards to the hearings and so forth when they really delve into that. But one of the things I will say is that having worked with President Trump in his term, for his first term, I know that this man is a man who's focused on being successful. He's not going to put people in places where he's going to fail. It's just not in his DNA.
Right.
And that's the thing that they hate about him. The establishment hates about him in Washington because he's focused on getting to the bottom line results and not playing politics. And I don't believe that he's going to select somebody that he thinks is going to create, failure for him because, as I said, his whole life, that's all he's been focused on is making sure that he was hugely successful. So there are going to be hearings and there'll be reviews by the Senate and they'll be asked a lot of questions. And I think the public ultimately will make their decisions, but I have all the faith in the world in President Trump's decisions to pick the people to get this job done that he wants to get done.
You have to go on someone's reputation, and nobody has a better reputation than the Profile Tavern in East Freetown, my hometown. Serve up the coldest, frostiest beers around. Tom, when it's time to go to lunch, it's time to head to the Profile Tavern. They're available for lunch and dinner. Fantastic barbecue, fantastic pizza, really great all-American menu out there at the Profile Tavern, right off Route 140 in East Freetown. No matter where you are, you're by the Profile Tavern, right off. Take the Chase Road exit in East Freetown. They've got great cold beer, great cocktails, bar pizza, barbecue every day of the week. They're open 7 days a week, lunch and dinner. Check out the brunch on Sunday. The place to be on Sunday mornings is the Profile Tavern in East Freetown. Stick around. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 0500. We're talking with Tom about, of course, he was the chairman of the Trump campaign, and he's really in his glory today. We're going to take some more phone calls here. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Tom. How you doing?
Good morning, caller. How are you?
I was listening to another New Bedford station that broadcasts to the Portuguese community, and Eleni Hughes was invited to come on at 2:30 in the afternoon to talk about immigration information to the immigrants. And she said at her office there at the Immigration Assistance Center, there's a red card with 9 things not to do. One of which was if there's a warrant by a court to appear in front of a immigration judge, not to go to the door, don't open the door, and don't answer any questions. If you're asked by law enforcement not to answer questions, to get a lawyer, and on and on and on. Do you know about that, Tom?
I'm not aware that they had that, but from my perspective,
yeah, I thought you need to know about this because I listen to Portuguese radio, and she has a lot of audacity to call these people non-criminals. They're criminals, and you're right. They're violating the law of the land, and she's giving them 9 ways to avoid and evade being deported, and that's outrageous.
Right. The Immigrants Assistance Center was established to support immigrants,
Legal
not
immigrants.
illegal immigrants.
Right.
It wasn't meant to hide people out. No agency should be doing that. We have laws in this country. What they should be doing is encouraging people to go back and come in the right way. What do they say to the hundreds of thousands of people waiting in countries around the world, still respecting the laws of the United States?
That's the people you want here.
Yeah, waiting their turn. Why aren't they telling those people, well, you guys come on in too? Because they know it's wrong.
Right.
That's why. And they know that if they blanketly say that, it's as bold as day about the fact that they're basically encouraging people to violate the law. This way, they sort of just accept people coming across. They're encouraging more and more by bringing them in, these agencies trying to protect them. These states who are saying we're sanctuary cities. Sanctuary for what? Preventing law enforcement from
Helena Marks and the other people at those different agencies, they are under the law just like you and I. They've
Absolutely.
got no more right to break the law, particularly her. She's an immigrant herself.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Chris. I mean, much like any elected official, none of us have a right to pick
Using
and choose
tax-free dollars.
Yeah, none of us have a right to say, we'll pick and choose. The rest of you in society, don't worry about it. We'll pick and choose who we think should follow the law and who shouldn't. We can't have that in America.
They ought to
laws
use
are
the
there.
RICO statute against some of these organizations.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, things are going to change, and they're going to change pretty quickly, and they should.
You have a good personal relationship with Tom Homan, the man who's going to be in charge of all this. Talk about Tom Homan, please.
You want to talk about somebody who's a real true patriot. I mean, I've known Tom. Tom and I've worked together for years, and he's gone in the back of one of these trailers packed with illegals that were being transported in the back of a tractor trailer, and he had to respond to one of those years ago. It's never left him, because when he got in the back of that vehicle, there was a father laying on top of a kid who was the same age as his young I think son, and who died, smothered to death, and the father as well. And this is the most outrageous thing going on. This transporting people. The cartels are making huge money by bringing in kids, bringing in illegals as part of their smuggling operations, and then they're even using kids. They'll bring them in as though they're a member of some illegal's family and saying it's their child so they can stay. And then when the illegal gets to stay, they send the child back across and use them again.
Right.
And we know there's 300,000 kids missing right now. How can you not care about that?
Hunter Biden has them.
Yeah.
Right. Who knows what he's doing with them?
But these are young kids that are gone missing because we have been irresponsible in allowing people to pour in over this border. So when they think they're helping people, they're not helping people. What do you say to those kids right now?
They're being victimized. God knows what ungodly thing is being done to them.
Exactly. That's the problem.
508-996-0500 so you can get on the air. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, caller.
I just heard that caller about the Portuguese radio station. It seems like they want to protect the illegals in the city. And I do believe the city is a sanctuary city. I don't care what the mayor says or these local officials. You remember the fiasco they had down the South End when they had all the illegals working under government contractors?
In fact, Eric Caron, the federal agent who did that, is going to be here with me on Monday.
Yeah, I know Eric.
Eric's a good guy.
And all your local officials, they all knew about it.
Of course they did.
And they all had blinders on, and they played dumb. And this city is a sanctuary city. I don't care what they say. And a lot of the business are hiring them. Everybody knows it.
It's organized crime. It really is.
Well, yeah, and
Thanks for the call.
The caller makes a great point. Why aren't our schools being required to report how many illegal kids they have in the schools?
Right.
Why aren't we requiring these people, these agencies, to report who's here in violation of our laws? Why aren't they? And why aren't they telling us these things? Why are they hiding it from us? Hospitals. How many people are you seeing? How much money are we paying out because these people don't have money? Now they do, of course, because they're being given, health guards are given free Ubers,
my God.
free taxi fare. How about all these Americans who are struggling in life, trying to make ends meet for themselves and their kids who can't afford a taxi ride?
Tom, I had a caller call up and say that either her sister or mother, someone is being denied home health care, or it's being restricted the amount of home health care time they can get because Governor Healy needs the money for the illegals.
Well, yeah, and look, I just had a situation. One of my dear employees, who was one of the most loyal people you ever want to meet, just a great guy, just passed away from cancer at 59. Been struggling with it for 4 years. His wife, they were going to take him to chemo, and his wife said, she called and said, can I get medical transport to his appointments for the next 6 weeks for the chemo? And they said, well, no, because he retired at 59 because he had to.
Okay.
He had a lot of years in, but they said so he doesn't qualify. If you want to pay $300 each time for the trip, we can provide it for you. She and
Send
so
him in a limousine, for
the home
God's sakes.
care nurse the next day, she was telling the home care nurse that was visiting him in his home what happened, and the nurse said, "It's unbelievable. This is unbelievable." She said, "If he were here illegally, he'd get automatic transportation to and from his appointments." But because he's not
because an American citizen is being held against him,
doing it the right way, and probably having to pay for these transports for people who are here illegally, who are getting better services than he is, and he's having to pay for it out of his taxes. It's outrageous.
It's absolutely outrageous. It's literally now we're working for the illegal aliens.
Yes.
Tom, you turned it around on election day. How soon do you think before they start to drag these people out of here? It'll be in February sometime, probably.
You're going to see it happen very quickly.
First, he has to be sworn in.
Yep, be sworn in, and then they're going to be targeting all the criminal illegal aliens. Are going to be working, getting information. ICE knows where a number of them are, and as long as we don't have these courts, like we did, was it Judge Joseph who let one of them out the back door?
Yes.
As long as we don't have these courts trying to interfere, they wouldn't let ICE agents in the courtroom. I mean, why? So that they couldn't have the access? I mean, what kind of a justice system do we have?
Good morning. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, caller.
I just want to say, Tom, you are a remarkable man. You've got a lot of energy. You really, you were just everywhere. I'm just so impressed by you.
Oh, well, you're kind to say that.
Sorry.
You're kind to say that.
Oh no. I mean, you really have. You've put everything out. And I just want to say, do you see anything in your future or your wife going further politically, or am I just kind of reaching for this?
Thanks for the call, caller.
Well, thanks, caller. I haven't really decided or looked at anything at this point. Obviously, I have a real interest in what's happening with President Trump's new administration, and so we'll see where life takes us, and if there's anything somewhere along the way that I can be of help with in some small way, I'll certainly consider that.
508-996-0500 so you can get on the program. We have Tom Hodgson here in studio taking your calls. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen.
What's happening?
Caller.
Just curious, I'm sick of this governor. She's out of control. Is there anything President Trump can do either? I don't even care. Punish the state of Massachusetts, withhold all federal funds, force her to use the state police and tell her you're going to do it, whether you like it or not. Is there anything that could be done? This is like a rogue governor out of control that needs to be reined in, and it's sickening to listen to what she plans on doing. That's all. I'll let you guys answer. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Well, number one, she's already made a statement that because somebody did ask her, well, if the president says, hey, if you're not going to cooperate on these circumstances, you're going to lose federal funding. And she said, well, we'll go 4 years without federal funding. The president may not be able to change it, but you know who can? Us.
Yes.
All the voters in Massachusetts. If you don't like the fact that you have somebody in government who's supposed to be protecting you and your family, who said, no, I'm going to protect lawbreakers, I'm going to kick your kids out of community centers because that's what I want to do based on my agenda, then you have a choice. You don't have to accept that, because those people, you pay their salary, you pay for the building they work in and the seat they sit in. And we need to start holding elected officials accountable to us. And that's the way that we change it. And so we'll see how she reacts when the president starts to try to give us back what rightfully belongs to us in our communities and our families.
In my opinion, the best way to organize, what you have to do, is through the Republican Party here in Massachusetts. I think it's GOP, massgop.com.
Yes.
Massgop.com. Go there, sign up with the Mass Republican Party. They'll keep you updated on what to do. And we have to contact your local legislators. Maybe one of you has to run against one of them.
Well, and it isn't just about, the Republicans. There are Democrats that can be just as responsible as Republicans if they choose to.
If they choose
to.
Right.
But independents, I mean, what a huge number we had, an increase. I don't know if you know this, Chris. I think you probably do because you know just about everything. But the report came out on our results.
Okay.
And between the 2020 election and 2024, the biggest increase in votes for President Trump by state, Massachusetts was second in the nation.
Tom Hodgson.
We were only behind Florida, who got 9%. We got 8.1, I think.
Okay.
So that's a huge
jump.
advancement. Fall River went for Trump full. We only lost Bristol County by I think 225 votes.
That's that's recount land.
Yeah, but and it's interesting. Funny you say about recounts. Do you know the only states that Kamala Harris won were the only states that didn't have voter ID?
Really?
The only states that did not have voter ID were the only ones that she won. Imagine that.
That's an amazing statistic that I can believe on an instant.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I saw that reported just the other day.
Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hey, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sheriff, and thanks for all your hard work.
Good morning, caller. Thank you.
Hey, so my question is the mess, Sheriff, that's happening out on the Cape with Vineyard Wind and the other companies there.
Can you close your door, Steve?
I just did.
Okay.
So is there anything that Trump's going to do to try to help us? Because Maura Healey is in the process right now of, while the legislature is out, Beacon Hill is out, they're going to try to shove down our throats in closed session an order that says that we're not allowed to pick who we want to have for our energy, who we're going to use, and that the state's going to mandate that we use green. If that happens, we're going to be in deep kimchi, because it's going to be so much higher than we're paying now. And I'm hoping that the Trump administration is going to take away some of these subsidies that they're getting.
Yeah, I know that they're aware of what's going on. They're on top of this. I know at one of his rallies in New Hampshire, he talked about the fact that, you know what, we owe it to our fishing industry to protect them. And I know we're talking about energy here, but it all intertwines into this, again, not only the end user with regards to cost for energy, but also what's happening to our fishing industry. So he's very aware of what these wind power things are doing, and he made some statements regarding that even at his rally.
We did that offshore wind. It's just very expensive.
Oh yeah,
it's intermittent. It doesn't work regularly, so it's not really efficient at all. You know who is efficient though, Tom? Carter's Clothing and Footwear. They've been in business for 77 years, since 1947, covering all your work clothing and casual clothing needs. Area's largest selection of top-name brands offered at prices that can't be beat. They've got brands like Carhartt, Chippewa, Timberland, Levi's, Under Armour, Champion. They offer 75 different styles of work boots, including steel toe, non-steel toe, insulated, uninsulated, all kinds of clothing, wide variety of clothing. They can fit you out head to toe, including socks, hats, gloves, thermal underwear, outerwear, work pants, jeans, work shirts, flannel-lined pants. All available with free parking at both locations, 55 William Street in downtown New Bedford, 288 Plymouth Avenue in Fall River. Consistently friendly, helpful customer service, open 7 days a week. Carter's Clothing and Footwear. There's a company you could do business with, a company you can trust. Carter's Clothing and Footwear. Stick around. We'll be right back. In Massachusetts, Tom Hodgson here in studio. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Chris and Tom. How you doing?
Good. Well. How are you, caller?
Hey, Tom. So if Maura Healey is going to block resources and access to, for federal agents to try to corral up illegal aliens, especially from what Trump is saying is they're going after the criminals and the legal aliens that are on the watch list, et cetera. What could ICE do to go around that? Because this state is part of this country, and despite her not wanting this activity to go on, the people count on this happening in Massachusetts. So what can ICE or the federal government do outside of sanctions and not giving money to the state, what can they do in the state?
Well, she can't prevent ICE from doing their job. She just can try to make it difficult for them to work with any agencies and put whatever roadblocks up she can to make it more difficult to find these people on the terrorist watch list and the criminals. The sanctions, of course, are always the other option that the president has, and one that I would fully expect he would use and should use to encourage Maura Healey that. And if she doesn't want to run again, she might not care. But the reality is we've got to do something.
Thanks for the call, my friend.
To protect the people of this state.
Tom, I was telling my listeners, we are in full rebellion against the federal government here with our legal marijuana stores.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, when President Trump is sworn in, a very easy thing you could do is simply enforce federal law on marijuana users, on marijuana dealers. We have these stores all over the place now, openly in violation of federal drug laws.
Yeah.
You could just clamp down on those.
Yeah, and with Maura Healey being a former attorney,
I don't want him to, by the way, but I'm just saying you could do it.
But Maura Healey being a former attorney general, you think that would be something that she'd clearly understand. But again, it doesn't fit the political agenda. It's obvious that the political agenda dictates for her.
Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning. Get some sleep, Chris, with your new puppy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
He'll be fine.
He's been practicing his barking language.
Sheriff, I was wondering if Kristi Noem's going to be getting in touch with sheriffs, particularly you, with your, border security, the fact that I feel like you helped bring it to light early on, what a situation we were going to be in and how you could work with her.
Yeah. I mean, I do believe that when I was involved, as sheriff,
thanks for calling.
One of the things that we did was that we pulled together the group of America's sheriffs. We had well over 300 sheriffs that were very much involved in pursuing the illegal immigrants in the country and trying to reestablish 287G programs everywhere we could when President Trump was in. So I certainly I don't know how the future will go with regards to that, but I do know that they likely are probably very interested in getting the sheriffs back, America's sheriffs back to doing what we were doing back then.
Good morning. Thanks for holding. You're on with Tom.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
Good morning.
Yeah, first of all, Sheriff, great job. Great job on job well done, turning this state somewhat red. My question is, have you had and you've been crazy busy, have you had an opportunity to take a step back and kind of realize the impact? Like, I find it funny, last time I was listening to you was that they got you out of office, basically, the progressive movement, so you wouldn't have an impact. And here you are having even more of an impact. It just makes absolutely no sense. So it completely backfired on them. And my other question is, what are your future plans? Because Governor Hodgson has a great ring to it. You know what else has a great ring to it, too, if you want to stay local? Mayor Hodgson. Just a suggestion.
Well, let me start with the last part. I don't live in New Bedford, so that one would be out. But to your first point, about my doing what I did when I was sheriff, and then being in a position to do things now that are going to help, the current administration. My father always used to tell me, always remember that God writes straight with crooked lines, and you never know when or how things happen. I've always sort of looked at life that way. I believe in, a spiritual center. And so for me, that I just let life take me where it goes. But the other point that you made was, what would I be doing? And right now, just doing what I can to support President Trump as he transitions.
If you're on hold, stay there. We'll be right back, folks.
Who could challenge Maura Healey for governor in this state? And I'll hang up and listen.
Good question.
Well, it is a good question. I'm sure there's people out there that are looking at it. But we'll, did you know John Dean? He got 40% vote.
John Dean did a hell of a job.
He did very, very well. I don't know what John's thinking about for future, but
we've had him on the program already, and I plan to stay in touch with him. I hope he plans on coming back.
He's a brilliant guy.
He really is,
and very committed. But we'll have to wait and see. But
good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I'd like to ask the sheriff, under the new administration, will they be holding illegals in the Dartmouth prison?
Oh, no, I don't believe so. It would be nice if they did. We had the largest detention facility in the region, and we were doing that for many years, almost 25 years. So not sure how that's going to play out, but
Plymouth County has it still, right?
Plymouth County, but they've been trying to shut that down.
Oh, I know.
Under the Biden administration. So we'll see where that one goes as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're the last one. Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello. Good morning.
Sheriff, thank you very much. I was ecstatic. Great job, you and your team. I have another question. We're talking about these Greenie Acts. These mandates. Chris, you talked about this on a show, the Chevron deference.
Oh, yeah, the Chevron deference. It's gone.
It's gone. And somebody should take this to the courts. Let the courts decide whether we need electric cars or all these Green Act deals that's coming out of our pocket. I think somebody should take.
Hopefully, the American Gasoline Automobile Association will, because I don't know how we're going to get anything done with electric trucks. We'll starve.
Right.
Price of grocery will be through the roof. Tom, I appreciate it. How do people stay in touch with you if they want to? You're on Facebook, right?
I'm on Facebook, but they can also go to the. We're still going to have the site up.
Okay.
Mask for Trump 2024 website will still be up, and people can participate. And
You'll use that as a grassroots lobbying thing.
Yes.
People want to make phone calls, particularly to your U.S. senators about confirmation of Trump's appointees. All of that, right?
Yeah,
Tom?
and to continue to congratulate the people of Massachusetts
Yes.
for really the responsible positions they've taken and working together to want to get our government back and working for the people and our quality of life.
Tom, I want to thank you as always for coming in.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having
it.
me. Always great to be here.